Moin Leute, bevor das Video losgeht, wollte ich mich mal ganz kurz einhaken hier, um euch Bescheid zu geben, dass das Spiel, also Lamplight City, ab jetzt quasi, also ab heute auch ab dem 13.09. quasi auf Steam verfügbar ist. Man kann es kaufen, es ist erschienen, auch mit deutscher Übersetzung, soweit ich mich nicht ganz täusche. Und ich wollte einfach mal vielleicht so ein bisschen nahelegen, das Spiel dann zu kaufen, soweit es euch soweit gefallen hat, denn ich muss persönlich sagen, mir gefällt es sehr. Nochmal, ich werde nicht bezahlt oder irgendwas in dieser Richtung hier zu sagen. Aber jetzt, da das Spiel raus ist, darf ich sagen, dass es mir soweit sehr gefallen hat. Den ersten Fall konnte ich ja bereits abschließen. Wir nähern uns ja auch hier gerade ein bisschen dem Ende und dementsprechend werde ich damit natürlich auch weitermachen. Aber trotzdem euch, wie gesagt, nahelegen, die Entwickler zu unterstützen oder den Entwickler zu unterstützen. Das ist vor allem bei solchen kleineren Studios sehr, sehr wichtig. Und dementsprechend euch das Spiel einfach auch zu kaufen, zu spielen und zu sehen, was vielleicht anders passieren kann, was vielleicht anders ausgehen kann. Denn ich habe noch mal ein bisschen geschaut und es gibt einige Variablen, die da so passieren können, wenn man mal die falschen Sachen sagt. Insofern, ja, nur eine Empfehlung von mir und dementsprechend steigen wir ein in das Video. Tudu! Farbe des Buches ist wie die ihres Gewürzes, ja. Choice and Consequences, ja.
Well, this should be the book Amelie mentioned. Well, what have we here?
Alter
A
Schwede.
whip, and it has dried blood on it. How ghastly.
This house is just full of secrets, isn't it?
Okay.
Could I ask you some more questions, Mr. Martin?
It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Ganz ruhig.
Albert, did you hate Madame Dupré?
The woman is cruel, sadistic, and bigoted. When she found out about my relationship with Juliet, she sent me a letter threatening to have me killed if I got near her house or her daughter. So yes, Mr. Fordham, I hated her. But even so, I love her daughter. I wouldn't be so cruel as to take Juliet's mother away from her, even if she hated her too.
I beg your pardon?
Juliet and her mother didn't get along at all. I never asked why, but it was obvious there was something going on.
Intriguing.
That's all for now.
Mhm. Das Gefühl, der Verdacht geht immer weiter in Richtung Juliet.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery.
Hello, Mr. Ford.
Is there anything you can tell me about your stepfather, Jean?
He's a kind man. I don't really see him too often. He seemed rather upset at Mother's funeral, but I can't help but wonder if he feels the same way as I do about her death.
What do you mean?
Just that I get the distinct impression that he and Mother's marriage isn't as perfect as they'd like it to appear.
I'm starting to sense a trend here.
Your brother told me that Jean enjoys hunting. Do you know where his cabin is?
Yes, it's in Fenton Swamp. I went out there with him a few times, but I didn't really enjoy it. Frankly, the place is rather grotesque. All those stuffed trophies staring at you with their cold, dead eyes. Plants are much nicer to have around. Anyway, if you take the main road through the swamp about a mile and a half, you'll come upon a small dirt path that goes northeast. Take that until you see a small cabin on the left. That's it.
Thank you for the information, Miss Montgomery. Do you know Guy Dumas?
Yes, he was one of our servants. He used to enjoy reading my books, as well as Andrew's.
When did you see him last?
Just last week, he came by to see me and asked to borrow some books.
Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Not really. I get the impression that he moves around frequently. But I can tell him you're looking for him next time I see him, if you like.
Please do. Although hopefully I'll be able to find him before then. Were you friends with Celine, the maid?
Yes, I was quite fond of Celine. She was so sweet and interesting to talk to. One day, she just left the house with no explanation. Mother said it was because she had found work elsewhere. I was terribly saddened. I wish I'd had the chance to say goodbye to her, at least.
Okay.
What's your interest in her?
Oh, I was just curious, that's all. No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Ich fürchte, der Celine ist es nicht gut ergangen. Sie ist plötzlich verschwunden, ja. Das ist nicht gut. Da ist die Cabin. Der Officer ist immer noch nicht wieder zurück.
Celine, 1823 to 1844. Taken too soon. Rest ye with the angels.
You don't suppose...
Nah. Nah.
Na? I think
William
so.
Arthur, Sarah, Jane, Desmond, John, Douglas Chester, Dale Chester.
This must be...
I don't see.
What?
No.
These crypt...
There are only.
Then let's... These...
There.
Then... These...
There.
Then...
Okay.
I have to admit,
Na gut, wenn ihr meint, dass es an nichts
I suppose the whole heaven shining down upon the tomb motif is good for the dead people's self-esteem.
Wenn ihr meint, dass es nicht Celine
A
ist,
nest,
Perhaps she.
always a...
dann wird es wohl so sein, nicht wahr?
Hello? Is anyone here?
Strange of Dupré to leave the door unlocked. Maybe it means he'll be returning soon.
Ein Gewehr ist auf jeden Fall weg. Und ich hab Schiss.
One of the guns is missing. Jean must be out using it currently.
Das heißt, er wird mit dem Gewehr hier reinkommen und uns rumstöbern sehen.
Let's see if Jean has anything interesting in here.
Not very much, except a letter.
Dear Jean, thank you so much for your help. To think that Mother would try and have me withdrawn from my studies is just unbelievable. Don't worry. I won't tell her you made the university change their minds. One attempt to ruin a life is quite enough. Juliet. Wo hat er denn sein Gewehr? Da hat er sein Gewehr.
You? What are you doing in my cabin?
Jean Dupré, I presume?
Yes, that's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the attempted murder of your wife.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Forgive my rudeness, but you startled me.
Perfectly understandable, Mr. Dupré.
This is a man whose bark is most definitely worse than his bite.
Beruhigend.
Satchels, boxes, and other assorted boring things for hunting.
Can we talk, Mr. Dupré?
I suppose so. Yes.
I suppose it goes without saying that you enjoy hunting, Mr. Dupré?
Yes, I do. I consider myself something of an outdoorsman, you see. It's nice to be able to go out and get some fresh air after being sat at the bank all day.
What about your home life?
Truth be told, I'm not at home as often as I'd like to be. I've been trying to make more time, but something usually comes up. Business is business, after all.
Yeah, but what business are we talking about here exactly?
What can you tell me about Madame Dupré?
Oh, my dear wife, the past few days have been just awful for all of us.
Yes, I can imagine. How long have you been married?
For 7 wonderful years. Laura and I are just as much in love now as we were on the day we married.
Lord, does he actually expect anyone to believe that nonsense?
You'll pardon me for being so frank, Mr. Dupré, but why are you out hunting and not at your wife's side?
Excuse me? Who are you to lecture me on my marriage?
A fellow married man, that's who. Your wife has just suffered a very traumatic ordeal. Shouldn't you be at home caring for her?
But with all the confusion at the house, with the police investigating and her being attended to by her doctor, I just needed to get away for a bit. Surely you can understand, Mr. Fordham.
There's something off about this guy, Miles. He's definitely hiding something. And for once, I don't think it's from his wife.
Do you know anything about the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupré's death?
Horrible. Simply horrible.
Do you have any idea why Mr. Martin might have attempted to kill her?
Mr. Martin? You mean the boys they arrested? Andrew said it's because Martin and his mother are witches who prey on the well-to-do. You only need to take one look at him to see his trouble. It's a shame they put him away so quickly. I'd have liked to teach him a lesson or two, believe you me.
Yeah, right. A lesson on how to cower in the corner, most likely.
What can you tell me about your stepchildren?
Andrew and Juliet? I see a bright future ahead for both of them.
What's your relationship with them like?
It's fine. Why do you ask?
I got the distinct impression from both of them that they hardly ever see you.
Well, yes, I suppose that is true. We don't spend much time together. But they're both so busy with school, I don't want to get in their way. Not to mention my job keeps me away from home for considerable periods of time.
Excuses, excuses. I get the feeling Mr. Dupre avoids his family on purpose. But why?
Tell me what you know about Guy Dumas and Celine.
I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about.
They were former servants of yours. Do you not remember them?
Oh, I remember them. I just have nothing to say about them.
I've met some bad liars in my day, but this guy really takes the cake. We'll get him, somehow.
Do you fear your wife, Mr. Dupre?
Do I... what?
The question's quite simple. Are you afraid of Madame Dupre?
Why in the ether would you think that?
I'd be afraid of someone who kept a bloody whip in my bedroom. Care to explain that?
You don't know her like I do. No one does. Well, no one aside from the servants, I suppose. She's cruel, Mr. Fordham. Crueler than anyone or anything I've ever seen.
Tell me more about Madame Dupre's cruelty.
She treats the servants like animals, Mr. Fordham. She would say the most vile, awful things to them. Things I would expect to hear on the Gascon docks, not from the lips of a grande dame. And the beatings. Oh, God. The screams I would hear from somewhere in the house. I never dared find out where.
Nobody else ever heard the screaming?
No. She was cunning. She would do it when no one else was around. Once she knew I had heard, she threatened me. Told me she would...
Yes?
She threatened to expose my secret, Mr. Fordham.
And what secret is that?
He's gay.
Our marriage is one of convenience. It's all for show. Laura has herself a well-to-do husband, and I am a normal man in the eyes of society.
I see. I suppose that would explain a few things.
Well, now, how was that not obvious to you? The soporific is really having a bad effect on you.
Don't worry, Mr. Dupre. Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
Tell me what you know about Guy Dumas and Celine.
Celine had an accident.
What kind of accident?
Laura thought Celine had been stealing her silverware. She got a bit carried away with a beating and...
Dupre killed Celine?
Yes, she did. In order to keep it quiet, she had Celine placed in our family tomb.
Ja, ich wusste es.
What about Guy?
I don't know. I never saw him again after that.
Well, this case has certainly taken a turn for the sinister.
Do you know anything about Madame Dupre trying to get Juliet taken out of her classes at the university?
Ah, yes. Laura didn't approve of her daughter's desire to further her education. So, she sent a letter to the university requesting Juliet's withdrawal. I didn't approve of her trying to meddle in Juliet's affairs. If she wants to study, she should be free to do so. I wrote them a letter myself, without Laura's knowledge, telling them to disregard the previous request for withdrawal.
That's very good of you.
Yes, well, I dislike seeing people being told what they can and can't do by others.
Yet, he seems perfectly willing to employ servants at his home. Well, I suppose we're all hypocrites in one way or another.
I'll be going now.
Au revoir, Mr. Fordham.
Na, Mr. Fordham. Okay.
Seems Mr. Dupre is a Bollingworth man. Maybe he's not so bad after all.
We'll see. Ich dachte gerade kurze Zeit, dass das Bild noch ein bisschen länger auf ihm stehen bleiben würde. Das ist besser ausgegangen, als ich dachte. Tja, ich fürchte, das müssen wir uns jetzt mal ansehen.
Celine, 1823 to 1844. Taken too soon. Rest ye with the angels.
Wait a minute. This is Celine, the maid.
Naja.
Somehow a piece of paper got wedged into the side of the vault. Carefully now.
Oh Gott.
Got it. Nice work, Fordham.
Oh,
What this is.
so ein Schiss, dass es kaputt geht.
Interesting.
She will pay
Leaving
what
notes
she
for the
did
dead.
to
How
him.
very touching. I wonder if anyone has left me one at my grave.
Quiet, Bill. I need to think. We know this note is likely from Guy. Now we just need to figure out where to find him.
Is there anything on the other side of that piece of paper?
Bill, you're a genius.
I wouldn't give me all the credit just yet.
Let's see. A receipt for an extended stay at the Stun Arms. Does that sound familiar at all?
Vaguely. But I can't recall anything off the top of my head.
Looks like we'll have to do a bit more searching.
Alter Schwede, das endet ja nie. Stun Arms. Die Stun Arms. Stun Arms. Stun Arms. Stun Arms. Okay. Also ich meine, es ist
Can
ein
we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
verdammt offensichtlicher Hinweis.
Okay.
I found this note in the Chesterton tomb. I think it was left by the person who attacked Madame Dupre.
Nice work. Sounds like you're about ready to wrap things up.
I will be as soon as I find him. Take a look at the other side of it.
Part of a receipt for a hotel?
Yes, but the name is only partially visible at the bottom.
Stun Arms.
That's the top. Not at the
The
bottom.
only hotel that comes to mind is the Boston Arms in Chumley.
Of course! I knew the name sounded familiar. Ah, the stories I could tell you about that place. Not right now.
You're helpful as always, Upton. Thank you.
Good luck, Fordham. I hope you find your suspect.
Me too. Believe me.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
Ich frage mich nur die ganze Zeit, wie ich das hätte anders lösen können.